Intelligence of Phoenix meeting Eddie Siki. Mebacho Emra, President Mahama had an encounter with the media within some to Jaman Food Design and some. Mebacho ho, and ever daddy. SSC, I'm not saying the Ghana, so Mebacho. Yaje eye American deportees, American migrant deportees are eye Trump eba so on any ice or mu really chiche chairman for our mini home crata any who can ye di boni and so better American patch or Ghana so yajibi. Or my penny eddy who details out to get in some air because say hi Phoenix Media. About your first time I know subscribe to channel no now feel so no comment or to me Eddie Aba obit me like video no share. I'm out from so any. Mebacho during the encounter with the press. President Mahama asked me answer a question be regarding any Ghana-US relations. And President Mahama did just say Ghana has been approached by any US as a yentimi ente migrant deportees are any US for if you say omon says or motana or my mom penum. Enti omampani and so any number etna say Emma eventually woman US in a key agreement about any deportee bia and answer migrant bia ena Oba Ghana ha. The agreement they reached with US upon any say Ghana will only accept any US deportees or any West African citizens and I say or citizens of a West African country. ECOWAS country or West African country citizens no pay. And no deportees or free US any ebejo. In Tipatu bia obi o US we to me Nigeria ni Burkina ni Ivory Coast ni bi na o US na US watching the deporting na ndie Ghana for edgy so meet me and that is because all these citizens of these West African countries know already. President Mahama said they don't need a visa to come to Ghana or more free movement and I say free access to Ghana. It is only fair as a US FSA or more military agreement here or making sure that clause no abem. But the US agreed. Emma President Mahama said the first batch of US migrant deportees ABPM ewo Ghana. Most of them were Nigerians. The number omudi can buy, they were 14. Gambia fool, any other. About 28 President Mahama. Never change 17 no eso.
You have the floor.
Good evening and thank you for having me tonight. My name is Victor Cariou. I'm the Ghana correspondent for Radio France International, TV5 and Le Monde Afrique. These questions concern the diplomatic relationship between the United States of America and Ghana and Africa, and the deportation of migrants from the US to third countries in Africa. Your Excellency, with regard to this matter, how do you perceive the recent deal between the US and Rwanda, Eswatini or South Sudan, and also has Ghana already received migrants from a third country deported from the US, or if not, is Ghana considering doing so in the near future? Thank you.
Thank you very much. GTV has the floor now.
Senior, we used to call him Major in Ghana Secondary School. When I came to Form 1, they were in Form 3, yeah, and he was, as a very little boy, and he was one of my protectors. He used to protect me from bullying, and that's why I gave him the last. The first question was from, what's your institution? Oh, Radio France. Yeah, okay, it's about Ghana-US relations. First, we were slapped with 10% tariff that was increased to 15%. And then we're included in 36 countries that were going to be placed on a visa ban. But in the meantime, all 5-year visas were cancelled and we were restricted to single entry 3 months. It shows the tightening situation in our foreign relations, but I do think that we still enjoy good relations with the United States of America. We were approached by the US to accept third-party nationals who were being removed from the US. And we agreed with them that West African nationals, were acceptable because all our fellow West Africans don't need a visa to come to our country. So if they decided to travel from US to Accra, they don't need a visa anyway. So if you're bringing our colleague West Africans back, that's okay. And so I think that agreement has been activated, and a first batch of 14 nationals came, several of them were Nigerian brothers. They opted to go back home. And so we facilitated, we put them on buses, to be able to go back home. One of them was a Gambian who it's not as easy. You have to get him an air ticket to be able to facilitate his travel. So what we've done is contacted their embassy to let them know of his presence so that they can facilitate his return to Gambia. And so that's the issue with regards to deportations and arrivals. West Africa has the protocol of free movement, and so any West African is free to come to Ghana and be able to stay for 90 days. And so if they decide to bring them, we don't have a problem accepting them. Then with regards to the GIPC Act, we are living in a new environment. We have the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area that wants us to open our markets to each other. And so the former protective regime is changing. And so we need to review the GIPC Act to be able to take cognizance of that. And aside from that, there's limited foreign direct investment in the whole world. And so you need to place yourself in a position where you're able to attract as much foreign investment as possible. So when you put a barrier of $1 million, there are people who, with $500,000, can open a manufacturing establishment. But because you say he must show $1 million of transferred capital into the country, then you shut out that investor. And that's why, as part of the GIPC review, we're removing the minimum requirement so that anybody who wants to come and set up a business in Ghana to provide employment for our people is welcome to come. But that is different from the issue of the markets. And so there's advocacy that we should review that issue with markets. The current law restricts retail sector to only Ghanaians. And there are people who argue that it's anti-competition and so many other things. But of course, in most countries, you want to reserve a certain portion of the economy for your people. And so Parliament is going to look at it, and eventually whatever law they pass is what we have to live with. I never expected, or I never deluded myself that the fight against illegal gold mining or galamsey was going to be an event. Definitely, there's no magic wand. The decay has eaten so much over the last 8 years that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to overcome it. And I didn't expect that in 18 months we would declare victory in the fight. As the livelihoods of about 4 million Ghanaians is on small-scale mining. And so it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an event. But we will not give up. We have a determination to get on top of it. The gold board was introduced as part of reforms. And if the gold board was not introduced, those who were taking the profits from the small-scale mining sector were the foreign traders who were taking that money away. In 6 months, we have exported over $6 billion. About $4 billion of that money was going to go into the private or foreign traders. And so the first thing is you shut the stable door so that the horse doesn't escape, which is what we've done. So if it's from illegal sources, it's from legal sources. At least it's our land that is being destroyed. So let us get the benefit of it instead of foreign traders. So that's the first thing. But if you go and read the gold board law, it has a requirement for tracking and tracing. And as I speak, the gold board is working with an organization to put on a track and trace system. And so they're going to see those who have legitimate license requirements so that they can assist them in responsible mining, so that we can buy that gold off them. Once we do tracking and tracing, it's in our interest, because then we can export under LBMA, and we'll get more profit from exporting under LBMA. So the gold board is not just about buying gold, it's also about financing responsible small-scale mining. And mind you, small-scale mining is not illegal in this country. It's provided for in our laws. It's just that in many cases, we've not even trained the miners about what responsible mining is. You just see anybody who gets an excavator just goes anywhere and starts digging and washing. But small-scale mining takes place in Australia. It takes place in Canada. And so as I speak, we are organizing a trip for the Small Scale Miners Association to Australia. Australia has given us an invitation to bring them to come and see how small-scale mining is done without destroying the environment. And so that's something we're going to take an advantage of. And the Gold Board is leading, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are leading that charge. Only recently, our Minister for Lands and Natural Resources came back from Australia. And so we need to train these small-scale miners. The gold is a blessing that God gave us. It's a natural resource that God gave us to make life better for our people. It's just that the way and manner in which we are going about it is causing distraction to the environment. But it is the result of an increase in the gold price. And if you've read widely, you find that the same thing is happening in Peru. It's happening in several other countries because of the heightened gold price. And so for whatever little gold you're able to find, you get more money. Galamsey was not a problem when gold was $2,000 per ounce. But today, gold is pushing $3,600 per ounce. And because of the lack of jobs, jobless growth for several decades, there are a lot of young people who are coming out of school who have no job work to do. And so for them, that is the only livelihood. And so we must not think just about chasing them all over the place without providing alternatives for them. Because the alternative is that they should stay home and starve or go out and do something deviant. And that's why we came up with the cooperative mining concept, for which we recently lost our colleagues. They were going to launch it, the first of its kind in Anglo, because one of the things we said was that we're going to let the big mining companies seed off some of their concessions. Some of them have 400, 500 miles square. And there's gold in some parts of those concessions that they will never mine because the grams per ton of ore is so low. But yet, if you put a small-scale miner there, he can mine it effectively. And so we've discussed with them and they've all agreed. And so Anglo-Ashanti was the first. They've cut a part of the concession. And
so we, President Mahama, mebacho, and some of the two enra concerning Ghana-US relations. Wait me a chim see Ghana so yensa can be US migrant deportees ICE. HHH US no. Ghana etimia jimu 14. These 14s are nationals of West African countries. US, Nigeria, Gambia for any other West African countries can Ghana etimi Agyapong. Intino mebacho yenso yebi deportees aba Ghana they've arrived. Nigeria for no President James said yetimi Adom makopimu ewo mo man Gambia for no still negotiations and answer enkomo egu so course sebe ono so no ombetimi Adom so akopimu ewo mo man said yetiwi busia update woman Ghana US deportation honsem the etimi ababi do make us have feelings with the EDC first time now or subscribe to channel and say video we drop your with me any update.